Okay, in this video I'm just going to run you through the setup that I've been using with the Power Junkie V2, and I talked about this in another video, so if you don't know anything about the blind spot Power Junkie, I'll link to that up in the corner and you can check that video out. So the reason I've been looking into external power solutions for the Panasonic GH6 is because the two batteries that I use, so the one in my camera, I use the BLK22, and for my monitor I use the Canon LP-E6. And to be honest, both of those batteries, in my opinion, are pretty poor for battery life. So, you know, if you've ever used the S5 or the GH6, or you've used you know, the Blackmagic Pocket, you'll know that those batteries are not particularly great for battery life. So generally I can kind of work around that. So I've got a general battery workflow for kind of run and gun stuff, and I'll link to that above. Actually, I did a video just about it. It's basic stuff, just basic battery workflow, but you know, a lot of the time, if I can plan my shoots, I can work out when to swap batteries. And you know, if it's a lot of run and gun stuff, quite often I won't have the screen on there. If it's on my Ronin, for example, or you know, on my gimbal, I can plug that into the camera and I can actually get a little bit of power off of that, or maybe use a power bank depending on what I'm doing. But this specifically, I kind of put this together specifically with events in mind. So I spend, when the event speakers are talking, I like to lock off the camera on a tripod. So I just needed a base plate for this, lock it on, but then also I wanted it so that things weren't attached to the tripod, so I could actually lift it off and then I could kind of go around and do shots while speakers weren't talking. So, you know, just B-roll type stuff, but essentially just be able to take it, and I haven't got to unplug and plug things in. So everything I need is actually on this rig. So I've got a top handle there, so I'm able to carry it by the top handle. I've got a side handle, and that's kind of how I like to carry it. I like to be able to touch all the controls on this side. So I like my hand on the camera this side, and the hand grip on the other side. And then also, like I said, I've got the option to kind of hold it that way, so I can do low shots and kind of have the screen tilted up, for example. But generally, I'm kind of the thing I kind of needed most about it, like I say, is just that everything is all in one place. So what I've done is I've taken these two batteries now I don't need, because I've got everything plugged into the Power Junkie. So the Power Junkie's power in the monitor. If I spin it around, the monitor's being powered by an LP-E6 dummy battery that's being fed into the 12-volt port on the Power Junkie, and then the camera itself is using a dummy battery out of there, going through the dummy plate, or through the hole in the bottom of the battery door, and that's going out into the 8-volt port on the Power Junkie. So what I can actually get is the reason I've done that, I can use the it has USB PD as well, and that's actually really useful. You know, if I just want to use an internal battery and I've still got the Power Junkie handy, you know, if I just put it on the hot shoe or whatever, I can actually just use the PD power just to top up the battery, which I kind of went over in the other video. But with this, what I wanted to do was run them both through those barrel jacks and then free up that. And what I've been doing is freeing that up so I can use the SSD drive on the camera. And again, I'm sure you're familiar with this because it's been out in the firmware for a long time, but I'll link above if you don't know about SSD capabilities on this camera. But yeah, it frees the drive up for that. And also because I use the Rode Wireless Go 2, which is here, sort of in between shots or in between people speaking, I can also charge up this unit if I want to, which is really handy. So I've got kind of lots of options there of things that I can do. So in terms of the cable management on it, it's a little bit of a work in progress. You know, all I've done is just put this Think Tank Red Whip on there, but I could make this a bit better. Some of this isn't as sort of tightened together as it should be anyway. So This is a little bit of a work in progress, but I just wanted to make sure that I can get everything on there and it all kind of works, and I can just lift it up off a tripod fairly easily. So so far it seems pretty good. I've got the I'm using the NP970 on there, so it's a big battery, but I'm powering both the camera and the monitor from it. So it's I did try one of the smaller batteries, but the trouble is that I'd say there's little point in doing it that way, because you're not really getting that much power from that battery. One battery I don't have is the NPF 750, which potentially would be a sort of a happy medium. It would make it slightly lighter, but I don't know if I'd miss the additional battery power that you get from this. And that is one thing I was going to kind of talk about when we switch the camera on. So one thing to bear in mind, these cables, it's a bit of a minefield buying these, because it depends what camera you're on, but the LPE6 was easy to get. I could just get a blind spot LPE6 off Amazon. I'll link all this stuff in the description, you know, if you want to find any of this stuff. The unit itself, as we discussed in the other one, this is on Kickstarter. But the cables and things, because there's an original version of this, some of the cables are available. So the LPE6, fine. The BLK22, or the DCC17 equivalent, is a newer cable. So what I've had to do is just get one from, I've basically just got a third-party one from eBay, which it seems to be doing the job at the moment. You know, I've had no issues with it. I possibly will get the blind spot one when it comes out, but you know, I'll see how it goes. If this one's working fine, then I may not even need to. So it's yeah, so far it's been fine. So I can kind of, actually, sorry, one thing to say, the if you are going to buy a third party one, the spec for it is 5.5 by 2.1. That's the pin type you need for it. So you might find if you buy other cables that the pin is either too small or too big. So just make sure it's 5.5 by 2.1, and that'll be the right pin head for the Power Junkie, or for the blind spot Power Junkie. I'm always getting those two mixed up. But yeah, so basically we can have the camera switched on. I'll see if I can pull the monitor up a little bit. One thing you will find, the power indicator now is on the camera is essentially useless, which I do find that a little bit disconcerting. I'm working with this unit to see how reliable this actually is, and you know how I can kind of work with it. But I've got a lot of confidence in, you know, these batteries. I know they're absolute powerhouse batteries and they last for a long time. So so far they've been okay, and you can actually see on there that it's gone down to 1 bar now, even though, you know, the Power Junkie's reading out that it's still 4 bars. And like I say, I'm confident that is charged, that battery. So for me, it's a little bit of I'm just trying to work with it and kind of you know, find out how I can work with it. The alternative, which I've also been looking into, will be working with a V-mount, and a lot of new mini V-mounts have got like nice digital displays on them, so they give you a really nice readout of how much battery is left. But the only thing sometimes I find with them is they're a little bit harder to mount neatly. So you know, you can use something like a mini V-mount plate, which like I say, I'm kind of exploring all options with it. I've got the I've talked about this in another video, but I've got the DTAP BLK22 or DCC17 dummy battery as well. So it's another avenue I'm kind of looking into. But like I say, this one specifically, I feel like is going to work, because it's something I can actually kind of handhold and put onto a tripod. I'm not going to lie, it's not like the lightest with my monitor on there and the and everything else, but it does seem to work. So I'm just kind of I'm giving it a bit of a trial and just seeing kind of how it goes, really. But yeah, you can see that, you know, the camera's being powered up, no problem. We've got the monitor working as well, and that's all being powered through the Power Junkie. So it is quite a nice, neat solution. You know, I don't need to take 2 types of battery charger with me, or take 3 BLK22s and 3 LPE6s, I can kind of get away with it. At least, you know, my monitor can be charged off this and the camera, or, you know, vice versa, however I want to kind of play it. And you've still got the option of things like charging the camera by power bank in between shoots. But like I say, I wanted to free it up for the SSD recording, because you can, you probably can't actually, it's too far down, but you know, I've got 10 hours of 4K 60 recording on the camera there, so I don't believe the battery will last that long. And again, I'm still kind of testing all of this, but it's yeah, it gives me a lot more longevity in actually shooting, because the BLK22s don't tend to last a great deal of time, to be honest. So yeah, it's just another thing I'm exploring. And yeah, if you've got any questions about it, kind of leave a comment. I'll leave links to most of these bits in the description, so you can kind of check them out and kind of see for yourself. But yeah, if this video helped, give it a like. If you want to see more content like this, then please subscribe.